Hey everyone, in today's video we'll be talking about the elevator pitch, and in short the elevator pitch is the ability to introduce someone to your product or service and get their interest all within the time it takes to ride an elevator. So why is the elevator pitch so important? The truth is that decision makers and influencers are being targeted like never before. They're constantly being bombarded with advertising, cold calling, emails, social selling, in-person events, that they're starting to become numb to the typical approaches of salespeople. And so really only the best of the best is now getting through, cutting through that noise and getting their interest. In previous videos, we've spoken about using the right tonality, the right call opening, the right permission statement to get yourself through the beginning of a cold call. Now you've got 35 seconds to deliver a really concise, really intriguing elevator pitch. And the primary objective is to get their attention, pique their interest, to perfectly set yourself up to ask that first probing question. And probing questions will be the topic of the next video in this series. Now, in my opinion, the elevator pitch should be problem-centric and contain three main elements. The first one being a relevant nutshell statement, second one being relatable problems, and the third being negative impacts. At this stage of the call, it shouldn't be about you, your product, your features and benefits, but instead be highlighting issues, pains, challenges that they're likely facing and positioning yourself as a solution to those problems. There's no bigger sales driver than problem fixing. Okay, now it's time for an example. I'll be an SDR representing an antivirus company, and I'll be calling a Chief Information Security Officer, a CISO, at a manufacturing organization. The elevator pitch might sound something like this. As I mentioned, I'm calling from ABC Company, an antivirus platform currently working with manufacturers such as Example A and Example B. The reason I'm reaching out to you is that those CISOs identified that they had a real problem securing not just their traditional IT, but also their operational technology as well as connected devices. At the time, this left them operating with inadequate protection, far below cybersecurity standards, and left them at serious risk of a breach. And that's the elevator pitch. And as I mentioned before, that will lead to your first probing question. But for now, let's just break down what I said. So it began with the relevant nutshell statement, and it went a bit like this. As I mentioned, I'm calling from ABC Company, an antivirus platform currently working with manufacturers such as Example A and Example B. And although I did say the elevator pitch isn't all about you, you do need to share at least a little bit of information about your company so they can at least understand the angle that you're coming from. By sharing current customers, such as Example 1 and Example 2, you're also increasing your chances of catching their attention, especially if you're talking about a competitor. Everyone wants to know what the competition is doing, and it also reassures them that the information is going to be relevant to the industry that they're working in. Moving on to relatable problems. In this elevator pitch, I say, and the reason that I'm reaching out is that those CISOs identified that they had a real problem securing not just their traditional IT, but also their operational technology and connected devices as well. My first comment is don't forget that you've asked to explain the reason for the call. So do include the line, the reason for the call is, and then explain. In this instance, we're sharing the intelligence that we've gathered about CISOs also in manufacturing that were having problems, notice the past tense there, that we suspect that this prospect is likely facing right now. But it's not enough just to talk about problems, you've got to talk about the negative impacts as well. And so in this pitch I say, this left them with inadequate protection, far below cybersecurity standards, and left them at serious risk of a breach. It's important to know your customer and what negative impacts will resonate the most with them. A cybersecurity breach is a very significant potential negative impact for a CISO. I do want to add that depending on your product or service, the type of persona that you're speaking to, the industry that you work in will alter what your elevator pitch looks like. However, I do think that those three main elements, being the relevant nutshell statement, the relatable problems, and the negative impacts, are pretty universal and can be used in all B2B sales environments. So that concludes my fourth video on the elevator pitch. I'd love to read your feedback in the comments below. Feel free to share some tips and tricks of your own that you use when you're doing your elevator pitch. If you found this content useful, please like and subscribe. The next video in this installment will be on probing questions and how we get prospects to open up. Thank you for your time, guys. Good luck out there.